if you can start your day or start your focus with what is going right and be thankful for that. Like, is your heart, okay, let's just start with this. Did your heart beat today? Is your heart beating? Do you have food? Do you have food to eat when you get up in the morning? Did you wake up in a bed? These same sort of oh yeah, well, of course that was going to happen anyway. No, you need to focus on that. If nothing else, at least be grateful for the things that are going right. Welcome to the Truth About Dentistry podcast. I am Dr. Peggy Bound, a successful solo dental practice owner in St. John, New Brunswick. After years of figuring out how I wanted to practice, I now run a fully digital clinic providing my own brand of dentistry on my own terms. It wasn't easy, and I'm still learning, but I know I have so much knowledge to share. This podcast is created to help inspire young dentists or anyone looking to transition to a more digital practice. I aim to give you actionable step-by-step strategies to help you navigate the modern dentistry landscape. If you're looking to become more digital, improve your skills, or even have a more profitable practice, then this podcast is for you. Now let's get started. Today's podcast recording day. We're batching these now because I want to really be consistent with getting you content weekly. And I would love it, of course, if you are enjoying these podcasts, please rate and review the podcast because it will help me and it will also help me get this to other listeners just like you. So if you're a dentist, you're a hygienist, you're a dental assistant, you're a receptionist, you're someone in dental usually, unless you just like to, listen to my voice. I don't know about that. But, I really want to bring a variety of topics. And when I do get feedback, if you want to share or you want to DM me, it's really helpful because then I'll know a little bit more about what my listeners are looking for. However, it seems to be working. So today I'm going to be talking about maybe a little bit of a weird topic, but I feel that anyone who's been in dentistry long enough probably has this feeling. And that feeling is, what else can I do? Seriously. Could I just run off and join the circus? Should I just, go do something else? I just want to quit, It's really somewhat common, I think. And it really came up for me as I was mentoring one of our modern dentist students at I guess it was a few months ago now. And, she just, a lot of things were going wrong. I'm not gonna say they weren't. She was having a little bit of what we would maybe deem bad luck. And then the more she put a spotlight on it, the more things that went wrong. Now, that, again, is the way it felt. And then, we would kind of get her back and then something else would happen in her practice. And so as a practice owner, I think practice owners go through this more than anybody else in the dental team, especially because we know we're responsible. We know we have to, there's so many balls we have to juggle. And particularly with this student, she's also a mom of 2 small kids. And as women who are leaders in the clinic and who are, again, trying to, have our families and juggle all the balls, we want to be good at everything. And as dentists, we're typically type A type people. And then when things start to break down, we really go off the rails and we think, okay, is this even right for me? Should I even be running a practice? And you start questioning yourself and you start asking, maybe I'm not cut out for this, or maybe I should just go back and be an associate. So these are the things that I thought, this would be a really good topic to talk about because through my own journey in 22 years, I've been an associate, I've been a partner, and I've been a solo owner. And through it all, I'm a mom, and I've really had those emotions. I really have a deep passion for dentistry, so I've also, tried to mitigate or sort of move some of the energy that I felt that was dragging me down and say, what can I share with others? And so that's why I do teach, and I do kind of like to help other doctors because I feel that it really helps me get through it myself. Because if I have to kind of break it down, then it doesn't mean I'm going to run away from dentistry. It just means I'm going to just try to figure out what is going on here. So let's talk about that today. I think that would be, again, if you want to, let me know if this resonates with you. I really appreciate it. And let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we have to remember is that it's usually just a moment, or it's a week, or it's a day. And my point here, my first point is this too shall pass. So this feeling like, oh God, I don't want to do this anymore. I feel like I'm a failure. I feel like I should just go and just be an associate and just like not have to worry about any of this stuff, like all the things, all the balls. It's usually, right? It's usually an hour of feeling that way, a day, a week. And I would say, based on my experience, worst case scenario, it's about a month. If in that time, like let's say it's beyond that time, and I'm not going to go into that because I'm going to go into the time period where it is brief and there is a way to recover here. But let's say it's months of feeling that way. Then you really have to seek help, and you have to, you have to question, you have to look at what you're doing. You have to really make some changes, or obviously it is going to get a lot worse. If it's just brief though, I want you to think about this. So the next time if you have that feeling, you could say, oh, Peggy's, remember this. This too shall pass. It's going to be fine. It's probably just how you're feeling right now. And if you have some really great team members around you, sometimes they can actually help give you perspective. And I talk to my team a lot, and they're often, quite supportive. If you have, again, the right team, they're like, you know what, that don't worry about that. Or and again, it's easy for someone to say, like, don't worry about something. You're the one who has to live your life. No one can live it. No one can experience it the way you do, because it's based on your past experiences, but then it's also based on the lens you're looking through. So what you're seeing and what you're experiencing is, well, you have to question, what are you focusing on? So if you can start to, use the mantra, use something to say, okay, like this will pass. And it usually will go away. There's not going to be, days and weeks and months of a crappy life or a crappy feeling about dentistry. I think if you do dentistry for the right reasons and you really do love it, and there's a lot of patients you really love and enjoy, then you're not going to feel this way forever. It's okay though to feel that emotion. You're human. You're going to be experiencing that from time to time. But if you can recognize that that's normal, like, oh, great, congratulations, you're normal. Because there isn't a solo practice owner or an owner or a dentist in the land that has never had frustration, failure, and fuck ups, to be honest. I needed another F word, and I love alliteration, so bear with me. But I feel that, like, that is dentistry. And it's, if you think that what you see on Instagram, or you think this dentist down the street is having the perfect life and they're not going through what you're going through, then you're absolutely wrong. And so, not to say you want to think, oh, okay, well, at least they're having a crappy week too. It's not like that. But, all of us go through that. And so if dentistry was really that bad, then no one would even go into dental school. And yet there's like a massive race and huge competition to try to become a dentist these days. So it's not that this is going to last. It's a very temporary thing. And again, just keeping what your thoughts are in check. And I would say, I'm going to give you some strategies today to kind of get past that, but just realize it's temporary and it's just normal, and you probably are on the right track, and this failure or this situation is just guiding you to become a better person. And we can't get better without failure. We can't. Sounds very cliche, but you just can't. And it's painful, yes, to feel like everything you've done up until now is like been a huge waste of your time, and you should have went off to cooking school and become a chef. Trust me, I've had that thought. But it's normal. So it'll pass, and you want to just keep yourself in check, and you want to realize that. Check in next week. Like, let it go right now, and then next week ask yourself if you feel the same way. You probably will not. And that's the beauty of being human, and also having some other people around you to lift you up, and just look for support. Like, be honest with someone else. You don't have to kind of keep it all inside. There's always colleagues out there now with Instagram, and you could so easily reach out to someone, and they'll make you feel good, I think, pretty fast. Yeah. So that's the first point.
Do you want to become the modern dentist in your area? Our on-demand and live mentorship will help you stand out, attract your ideal patients, and build a niche-based practice. This A to Z training is for dentists and team who desire the digital workflows and skills to operate a thriving digital practice, helping you stand out in a crowded market. This course is the culmination of Dr. Bound's 20-plus years of experience in building a patient experience that patients will pay more for. Learn from our on-demand courses or receive a more customized experience with our mentorship program as we guide you through the curriculum. You can find out more from the link in the show notes. Or, if you aren't quite ready to take the plunge, you can also find the link to our freebie consult photography guide, which will help you get the right shot on the first attempt. Now back to the episode.
As I said, this podcast episode is inspired by one of my students that I mentor, and she really felt like the sky was falling. She had team member not performing well. She had another team member that she was trying to train. She had sickness. Oh my gosh, she got sick. I don't know if it was from COVID, but she was just constantly sick. She was just, really run down. She had the kids. The kids were sick. She had all these expenditures, and their finances were out of control to some degree. And so a lot of things in her life that she was feeling upset about, but she kept, focusing on it. And so one of the things I want to say here, though, is that she reached out to me, of course, and we talked through it. And one of the big things was, what is going well right now? Because it's very easy to get to notice what's going wrong. And yeah, there were some things going wrong, but there were a lot of things going right, like a lot of things. I wanted her to really see that, and I wanted her to shift the focus. So it's kind of like if you've ever, I don't know if any of you mountain bike, or you do anything that's a little bit risky. I call mountain biking risky. When I'm going through the trail, and I did a podcast episode on mountain biking, by the way. So if you do mountain bike, you should check that one out. The point is that if there's an obstacle up ahead, so that's the threat, that's the negative thing. The worst thing you can do is just stare at it and focus on it, because it's most likely going to stop you. You're trying to go between two trees. Don't stare at the tree on the right. You're probably actually going to be attracted and go right into it, or get off your bike and now, you're kind of off your bike, or you're injured. You've got to stare through it or past it, or you got to look at something else, because if you can't stare at the problem. By staring at the problem, you're focusing on the problem, you're attracting more of those problems. And now you're not seeing what is good, which is a path. The path is actually to the left of the tree. So why not stare at that? Why not stare at what's positive? Because you can actually get through it. The tree will go by you if you're not focusing on it. So again, I don't know if my analogy is resonating with anyone, but that point is that when we stare at the problem, we often only see the problem, and the problem becomes worse. We need to focus on what is going well. So what I said to her, I said, look, let's go through what are the things going right in your life. What can you be excited for right now? How can we change your energy, your just what you're seeing? When you wake up in the morning, if the first thing you're thinking of is, oh my God, this person's probably didn't do this, or did I check on that, or I don't want to see that patient today. Those are your very first thoughts, and that's how you start your day. And it's going to actually grow and get worse, and it probably will be as bad or worse than you thought. But if you can start your day, and again, there's a lot of podcasts, there's a lot of books out there. Gratitude's a real thing. So if you can start your day or start your focus with what is going right, and be thankful for that. Is your heart, okay, let's just start with this. Did your heart beat today? Is your heart beating? Do you have food? Do you have food to eat when you get up in the morning? Did you wake up in a bed? These same oh yeah, well, of course that was going to happen anyway. No, you need to focus on that. Yes, there's always going to be struggles, and these struggles, like I said before, are ways to help us get stronger. Like if you were a tree and you're growing and you never experience wind or forces on you, then you're probably not going to get stronger, right? So we need to have those things. And it's like we can almost be, and if it's a really bad thing, you're probably not going to feel grateful for it. You can almost try to be grateful for this obstacle, for this problem, because wow, you know what? I might actually learn something here. And that's going to bring me to my next point. But, if nothing else, at least be grateful for the things that are going right. And so make a list. Just come up with 3 things that are going right, and really focus on them and like truly be grateful for them. So I think that would be my second point, and that's going to bring you out of that sort of negative energy. And you're going to come to work. Oh, wow. Like, thank God, like Lori's sitting at the reception desk. Hi, Lori. Thank you for actually showing up. That's one less thing I didn't have to worry about today. And so I really try to think about these things. No one's perfect, and we can't always be thinking about what we're grateful for. But if you can, you'll see a shift, and you do that multiple times every day, day after day. You're going to have less and less of the things that are going to basically make you feel that like you're helpless. You're never helpless. You always have a choice. And that's going to bring me to my last point, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So my last point, when you think you want to quit and you're just like, oh my gosh, like one more thing and I'm just going to lose it, right? Take a deep breath. God, I know it's hard, right? I've read a lot of self-help books, okay? So it sort of sounds funny when I feel like I'm telling someone else to do this, because I wasn't always the best at it. But now it's like, okay, remember I've alluded to this before. When you have this obstacle, you're going to get stronger. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you better. Just try to find one thing you think why you might be presented with this obstacle. Or did this thing keep happening? Is it keeping happening? Well, maybe you just didn't learn the lesson. So my point here is that, can you learn a lesson, and what can you do to kind of transmute, if you will, the bad karma? So you feel like, oh shit, like, God, what am I doing? Like everything I do is going wrong. Like, and it's just like somehow I have some sort of bad energy. If you can, think about not just the lesson, okay? So think about, okay, first of all, what am I not getting here? Like, I need to change my focus. And then use that to teach someone else about what you learned. So you're actually sort of like moving it away in a positive way, and you're going to help somebody else that had the same problem. That maybe that's what I'm doing with this podcast. I don't know. But I think that like, and you learn something, you should be excited to share that with other people. And you should try to find in every obstacle, every problem, something that you learn from it. And someday, you could even write a book. That's how amazing books are written, because people learn things and then they want to share it, right? So sounds maybe a little bit silly, but it will also shift your perspective, and then help you kind of not procrastinate on it. Because the reason why you're procrastinating on it is because you just don't even want to face it, right? A lot of times we don't want to face things because it's just too difficult, it's too hard, or it feels like too much. But you're being given almost a gift, if you will, to get better. So try to absorb it that way, and try to articulate what the lesson is, journal about it, talk about it with other people, and that will inspire other people. So they may too come across that same problem someday, and now they are like, you know what, Peggy, I talked to Peggy about this one, and she had the same thing, and I remember what she told me. So if you can do that, then I think that's also going to bring you a little bit of joy and spark, because if you're already a dentist, you should be showing some leadership to younger dentists and to some people in the profession who are going to struggle too. And we're all here as humans. We're collectively should be helping each other out. And so try to find something that you think will be the lesson, and then you can help someone else who may feel that way. So the last thing I want to suggest is that as dentists, we are leaders. We have to be leaders. We have to think about picking ourselves up. We have to think about helping other people, our team, our family. There's always that. And one cute little thing that we learned from one of our coaches was that, if you're really feeling like geez, I just want to just throw down the towel. I just want to quit. I just want to put the for sale sign on the practice. I don't think I'm cut out for this. You need to ask yourself 4 things. And if you're any one of these things, you should not make a decision on that. So again, these are probably, you're only been feeling this way for a little while, or if you have a frustrating day, what are you going to do? Are you just going to quit? Well, you're not going to quit if you're feeling or experiencing one of these 4 things. And it's like the HALT. It's called a HALT. It's an acronym for the word HALT. And HALT means, are you hungry? It's H for hungry. Are you angry? Are you mad about something? Are you lonely? Do you just not have connection in your life? Is there something else missing in your life? And are you tired? Are you really getting enough sleep? Are you just again, you're just overtired, and so now your brain is not working as well, and so it's really not a good time to make these decisions. So make sure some of these really basic essentials are in check, and then if you've really gone through everything and you've thought about everything that I've told you here, and time is passing and you're really still feeling that way, then yeah, maybe you really should quit. But I think a lot of thought, and you spend so much time and money to get to this point, and you really are more successful than you realize. And dentists are probably the worst at we're really hard on ourselves, especially some of the females in dentistry that I know. And we need to give ourselves time, and we need to make sure that all the basics are under control. And then if we're still feeling that way, then by all means we can we can quit. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to listen to this podcast. And again, hopefully I inspired you in some way. If you feel this was helpful, or you have any colleagues that you think would really maybe enjoy some of the content like this, we're going to be here every week. And I would so appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel and also share this little discovery of this new podcast with your friends and colleagues. If you do want to reach me, you can certainly find me through my social media channels, Dr. Peggy Bound or Peggy Bound Dentistry, or you can reach me on my email, peggy@smilesbybound.com.